All right, let's talk some more because Kevin Leandro keeps talking. So let's talk some more before I go swimming. So, Kevin's like, so you did the finances. Which way is it? They co-signed on that mortgage. First of all, I never asked them to co-sign. I never did. They chose. And second of all, I wasn't even on the piece of paper. It wasn't even me who signed for that. It was Ben's father. I think his mother signed, maybe as a witness, and Ben. So I mean, if I wanted money as a gold digger, I probably would have been on there. I mean, like, why did I care? I was busy with my firstborn, and 1994 was my secondborn coming. So we moved in that trailer. I think it was September 30th or something, 1994. We moved in. I didn't ask them for a dime, right? So they offered, and Ben was like, yeah. So Ben had made that decision. And then Ben is the one who didn't want to deal with a mortgage. So Ben had cancer, testicular cancer, 1996. We had our firstborn coming. He had his cancer, and then we had our, sorry, not firstborn coming, third son coming, our third son coming. And then he had another surgery in December. I actually saved his life, and this is the thanks I get, right? He would go to the doctors, and I'm like, you are going to the doctors. You have a lump, and you are going. So not only did he cry out to God for salvation during that time, but if he did not go to the doctors, he would be dead right now. Which, you gotta wonder sometimes, ladies. No, I'm glad he's showing up now. But he has a huge scar to this day way down his stomach. And he couldn't work. We had workman's comp. We had no money really coming in. Workman's comp gives you nothing. So we had the church that came in, and they were like, hey, we have meals for you. I think I had done a newspaper route by then too to keep us aboard. But one of the tools I used, and we were getting a little bit behind before too, because that was, everyone talks about the recession of 2008. We felt like there was something going on in the economy right before that, because he wasn't getting much work. And then, of course, when he had cancer, he couldn't get work. So Kevin wonders if I'm incapable of doing the finances. First of all, which way is it? Donna was like, oh my goodness, you have 5 kids on one income. I don't know how you do it. That's because I'm good at money. I'm good at it. So what I did was I took the catastrophic illness program for his cancer, and I used all the resources to make sure that we didn't have debt. We didn't even claim bankruptcy, okay? And this is something I was learning about in my business class. A banker said, why do we reward people with bankruptcy? And you don't even, sometimes it doesn't even affect like your credit or anything, but people who are struggling to make it don't claim bankruptcy, and they're punished. So, yeah, I mean, I got all the help we needed. We had the Concord Imaging Center pay off. I think it was over $25,000 for Christmas, because we were a young family and Ben had cancer and he couldn't bring in money. And so I was there for him. I didn't leave him during the cancer. Donna and Rob, they didn't go to the hospital to see him. Who was there when he had cancer? I was. I didn't leave him. So, so let me see, what else? Ruth was there during his cancer. You know what? Money is all in how you use it. You can use it as debt. Some people think debt is wrong. It's not wrong. It's how you use it. So you can use a deferment, and it doesn't have to affect your credit. So that's a bunch of bull. So, if Rob and Donna really cared about their money, they would have been on the horn with the bank saying, hey, what's going on, whatever. And if they trusted you to deal with it all, which I think Donna said at one point to Ben, then there should be a good enough relationship to have the communication, because he knew what was going on and he blamed it on me. And I blame Ben for that he went to his parents and told them a story, like he did again, that wasn't even true. He said he had no idea that the electric was due. He had no idea the bank amount was due. And he knew. I'm like, Ben, the bank wants to talk to you. I don't want to talk to them. I'm like, he doesn't want to talk to you. Fine. Call his mother. So I was the one who was dealing with it, and I'm the one who took care of it, and I'm not even on the paperwork. So why is that? And that's because Ben didn't want to deal with the finances. And when he didn't, I said, okay, I'll deal with them, but this is how I'm going to deal with them, like it or not. So for Rob or Donna to tell me how to deal with my money and our finances, me and Ben's, was out of place. And if they cared about their credit, they can easily call the bank and say, you know what? We'd like to know where the situation's at, and we will take care of it. And if you don't like co-signing for people, don't co-sign, because life happens, whether it's cancer or low wages or whatever, that can throw off your whole co-signing thing. So life happens, and if you're going to co-sign for people, make sure you know what's going on. Make sure you're in control with the bank, and you're like, hey, I want to know where it's at, where's the payments at, and be ready to pay that off if you don't like co-signing. So don't be blaming it on Ben when he's not making much money. They totally shamed him and treated him like crap because he couldn't control the situation. And Ben was traumatized when he came home. That's why he was like, I don't know if I wanted a divorce. So they tried to put me in a place in his eyes that was bad. When calling me a gold digger, where's the gold? I married Ben and he didn't have any money. They don't even have that much money. Where's the gold, right? If I was a gold digger, I would not be in a trailer. As a matter of fact, my grandmother came over and she's like, what's a pretty girl like you doing in a place like this? And I'm like, I'm raising my kids. That's what I'm doing. So I had 3 kids in a, 12 by 65 foot square foot trailer. I mean, I don't even know what the square foot was. That was the length. I'm in an old trailer, 1970, 73 or something, and I'm being called a gold digger. Unbelievable. Unbelievable when things don't go your way, how a mother-in-law will trash her daughter-in-law. There should be, I'm sorry, but I have been a treasure to this family, and I have been good to them. I brought over the kids all the time. I took care of everything. I was pinching pennies at one point. I was like, Ben, spaghetti 69 cents this week or 79 cents for the better kind. What do you think we should do? I was literally at one point raising kids on literally nothing. And this is why I'm so pro-life, guys. Because if I can do it, living on nothing, because Ben wasn't making anything with 3 kids, then you can do it. And it's all about resources. So I went to the pantries, and they're like, oh my goodness, you're like 80 times down below the poverty level. He just did not have the income, and he wasn't willing to say to his boss, hey, you're ripping me off. This company would what would you call it? I'm trying to think of the word. When you're like looking at every little transaction and trying to save a buck. I can't think of the word. Not breadcrumbing. Nickel and diming. That's it. They nickeled and dimed everything. And we won't get into how bad their nickel and diming went. So we won't get into that because Kevin is listening and he's going to try to bring this to court. But Ben knows. Ben knows how faulty the equipment was and stuff, and the service the customers really got. But we won't talk about that because Kevin will try to get me for something. So anyways, that's the truth. I'm sorry, it's the truth. It's the way it was. And if you want to get me for that, go right ahead. It's the truth. So when he wasn't willing to go to his company and say, damn, you're ripping me off to make yourself more money. My family's feeling it. I think I need a raise or to go somewhere else, Matter of fact, I have a job right now that there's a situation that I had to deal with yesterday. And I had to go to the boss and say, hey, what's going on? And I had to confront it. I don't like to confront people, but I had to. So, you have to do what you got to do. So he felt it would be better for me. Ben felt it would be better to keep his job. He felt, for some reason, he said he felt like he should stay there for some reason. He didn't know why. And he felt it would be better to live very frugally. So, I'm someone who was brought up, I had a lot in some ways. I had a lot of material stuff from my mom, but my dad was not materialistic. So in a way, I learned to live on very little from my father. He just wasn't a materialistic man. He grew up in the country. They didn't have much money. If you had a pair of shoes, he said, that fit, you were lucky. If you had a pair of shoes, you were lucky. If you had a pair that fit, you were lucky. So they weren't materialistic at all. And so my dad hunted and fished. That's how he got his food. So I learned from my father to live pretty much off nothing. And then my grandmother, of course, every single week, I had gifts from her. I was a little materialistic as a teenager only because I was trying to get love, feel love after an abortion from stuff. So it wasn't even about the stuff. It really wasn't. So that's what happened. So that's what happened. And if they would have sat down with both of us, Kevin, then, like I'm sitting down now to give the extra time to this, they would have known, Ben knew, instead of calling me a gold digger. So I blame Ben for that one. And, it shows their relationship. It shows whether, rather than coming across saying to Ben, hey, what's going on with this? And, okay, what can you give us the facts? Can you give us the numbers? Like, let's work this out. Instead, his mother took over, and instead of saying, hey, we all need to sit down and talk, we need to figure this out. We know Melissa's not a gold digger. His mother said that later too. I'm like, I can't believe you called me a gold digger. Something like that. And she goes, you're not a gold digger. I'm sorry. So she did apologize. She did. I give her credit for that. She did say sorry. So if I was a gold digger, I wasn't a very good one.